Hello, this is Beth here with a very quick tutorial on how to use Postman Flows, the latest version, which is 9.19 of the web app. Please update it if you don't have the latest version. This should work fine on the desktop app as well. Just to do a flow of the roughly a for each flow. So this has changed since I've done my last video, and because Flows is in beta, it will change from time to time, it will evolve. That's to be expected, but this is how I have performed a for each loop. What I have done, to be very brief, is send a request. Remember, all of the requests now need an example creating for them by going to the collection, selecting the endpoint you want to use, and adding an example with the information that you're looking for to be returned in there. So I've done that for the two requests I'm using in this flow. So that allows me to send a request. I've then added a create data block, and that's allowed me to take the response data, in this case a set of booking IDs, and create a suite of data from those. I did that by going in here. I'll show you how I did that. I literally went in here, went all the way down to the bottom, selected the data record, which is my input, and I selected the body, so it will produce this as a list. Okay, so we're saying we've created our data, what do we do next? We pass this to a loop over list block. So all these blocks can be added by clicking the add a block function. And the loop over list just tells us that we are using the list that we've generated here and doing stuff with it. There's also an end loop block that you can add if you want to return that to its original form, but we don't need to do that here. So what we're going to do is a couple of things just to show you what Flows can do. You can loop over all the responses, all the booking IDs in this case of our fictional hotel. I'm using Mark Wintringham's RESTful Booker API for the purposes of this video. And we're going to add a condition block, and our condition block is logic, which is in this case saying if the booking ID that we are looping under is less than 100, then that boolean, if that is true, and we want to output that to a terminal, and if that is false, we're also going to output that to a terminal, but in this case it will be a different terminal. We can also test the results of a request that you run for each ID in that list. So in this case, we can use another loop, another kind of connector to add a send request block. And this allows us to establish using the variable that we've created, the booking ID variable we've created in our create data block. We can add this in. So this is going to use the booking ID in order to allow us to get information about that existing ID, and then run the tests for this endpoint, run the tests against that and output that to a test summary. So a little long-winded there, but in sum, you can perform a for each loop by adding a create data block and then looping over a list, then telling Flows what you want to loop over, what you want to do, and then you can output that, or you can add an end loop block. So let's go ahead and run that and see that in action. Okay, we'll start to see those things running. Things are going, things are happening. So let's have a look at our terminal blocks. The more than 100 block has data in it. We can see that that loop is happening and it is publishing more data as we speak. So that is definitely working. It's looping over those values. And if we look at our test summary, we can see that our loop has currently run 5 times, and it's running those tests for every ID that goes through that list. Okay, fab. I hope this makes a little more sense to you. This is the current functionality. It will, of course, I'm sure, be subject to tweaks and changes, but this is how you can currently use Postman Flows to do an equivalent for each loop on your response data. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much. Take care.